Hello friends, welcome to my channel Power of AEM. This is the second video of series Dynamic Media with OpenAPI. In the previous video, we discussed about the overall overview and how many different type of personas can leverage the Dynamic Media OpenAPI. In this video, we will talk about the architecture and its flow. And before that, we also discuss about what are the prerequisites. If you want to set up the dynamic media with OpenAPI, what are the basic steps that you need to take care. So let's get started with prerequisites. As we know, you can install or configure dynamic media with OpenAPI either on cloud or your on-premise or managed services environment. To work on the cloud instance or cloud environment, you need to uh, have a separate instance where your dynamic media OpenAPI is enabled, and make sure that is your authoring tier and you do have access on that. Once that is enabled, and this feature will be enabled by the Adobe team. So you need to raise a request, and once they are enabling it, your asset module, either you are having a combination of different modules like sites, asset, and any other product, or just asset module available on your cloud authoring instance, you can start leveraging the dynamic media OpenAPI features. For your on-premise or managed services instances, you should have at least service pack 18. And if you want to leverage the core components to pull out the asset on your site content pages, then make sure you are having the minimal release of core component 2.23.2 or the latest one. Latest one is always preferred. Also, as you know, out of the box, when we are talking about cloud instances or cloud environment, those are already HTTPS enabled. But when you are working on on-premise or managed services, you have to be configure your environment so that should be accessible through HTTPS protocol. So once you are following all these prerequisites, you will be enabled with Dynamic Media Open API feature. Now let's talk about the architecture. In this architecture, you can see multiple flows. As in the first video, we discussed about how different personas are involved in this overall usage. So we are talking about here first authors. Authors could be your asset authors or might be site authors or any author who are having access on your assets. On the other hand, you might have some internal team members. So how they can use, so I'm just talking about experienced author means your internal team who are not actually asset author, but they are consuming the assets for different purposes. And the third flow could be related to your external users. So how these three different big segments of users can access the asset. So let's try to understand with asset author first. Asset authors are uploading the asset on your asset authoring tier. Once they are doing all the operations and doing changes on the metadata, when everything is finalized, they will turn the asset status as approved. So once that is approved, as you can see, once that is approved, it is sending the request to, to your dynamic media open API platform, as they are having its own storage. So it will always store all the things, whatever assets are approved, only those assets will be available here. Before that, if any asset at any point of time is not having status as approved or turned from approved to any other status, in that case, that asset information will be removed from the storage. So that is how your authoring user or authors are working here. So they as I said, your authors are playing crucial role whenever they are taking a decision which asset should be available on OpenAPI platform. They need to change the status, and the overall process will be started after that. Now let's talk about the other type of users who are internal, sitting internal, but they are not uh, API friendly, or you can say they are not very technical to run the APIs to fetch the asset. For them, we are having asset selector. Asset selector is just a new UI, or you might heard about asset is having a new UI. So we will also explore that new UI, how you can utilize that in the next video. But asset selector on the new UI, they can use to explore or traverse all these assets which are approved and available on the Dynamic Media OpenAI platform. As you can see in this workflow, they are having their own CDN, which is Fastly. And that is the reason all these screens where you are pulling out the approved assets, or might be you are hitting the API, you are always getting faster results as compared to any other system. And how you are getting the fast result? Because they are caching all the things on their CDN layer. So this is how they can access the asset. Similarly, external users who are playing around the APIs, they can also hit the API to search the asset, and all assets which are non-gated, or might be you can say not restricted, those are easily available through just traversing the UI or through the API. But in case you are having any restricted asset, or might be you want to expose those some of the assets only with some of the users, that is also one of the capability in this platform, where you can take a decision this particular asset should be visible to how many different type of users, or the users that you are having. Through IMS, it will authenticate all those user information, and once those are authenticated, then only they can see the gated content or any asset which is having restrictions. So this is how the overall flow. On the other hand, whenever we are playing around or interacting with the Open API system, every activity is logging, and these logging we are maintaining in a separate server. So a log ingestion service already there, which is which telling us like how many times hits are coming, and is that hit from your asset selector or new UI or through API. So how, which different type of hit that, and based on that, you can generate the report. And you can always have a look how frequently we are using this feature and how we can improvise our feature. For example, you are having more traffic through your UI, then you can look at like how we can improvise or do some more governance, or some more best practices that we can think on the asset selector. And the other side, if you are having less traffic through API, then you can think on like how we can provide some more information to other users so they can start leveraging all those APIs. So it totally depends on our business case, but this all these reports will be helpful to understand these things. So I hope this architecture flow uh, will be understandable. And if you do have any open question, feel free to drop in the comment box. So signing off for today, and thank you for watching my video. Please do subscribe my channel.